Hello, podcast listener. We've got a list of things to talk about today. Will we get through the whole thing? Well, only time will tell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World. And if you listen to this at 1.5 speed, this is going to sound really fast when I'm talking like this. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
Tucker, I've got a list of things I made that I want to talk about today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things on your list.
Okay, yes. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
To be fair, he held it up on his phone in notes across the table from me.
So you can't really see it. Like, can you read any of those? Can you see those?
I cannot read them.
Okay.
I couldn't even read the title. I could just count the lines.
So notes. Okay, I'm going to add something to this. Okay, notes on iPhone is a subject we're going to cover, and we'll start right away.
This is how we do prep for these, ladies and gentlemen.
So the Notes app on my iPhone now automatically adds a larger font, bold header for the first line that you type.
I've done that for a long time.
I hate it.
That's not new.
I hate this. This is dumb. I want them this is Notes. This is not
right.
Something else.
Doc.
And so and it of course takes that's the first thing that you see if you're searching for whatever you're doing. But it drives me nuts because most of the time I'm making lists on this, and then someone's like, you should use the Lists app. And I'm like, what's the Lists app? And it's an app that is meant for lists, but it's stuff like grocery, you can do a grocery list. And so you can separate into sections of the grocery store, things like that.
Sure.
So I'm trying new apps this week. This is my thing. I'm going to try some new apps. Musi is one that was recommended to me by a friend.
You sure it's not Muse?
Nope, it's Musi, M-U-S-I.
Okay.
And Musi is it essentially takes the embed codes from YouTube and makes it into a player,
right?
So you don't have to watch any ads,
nice.
And then you can minimize it. And
I'm
essentially,
try that one.
It gives you what YouTube Premium does without having to pay for it. And I am madly in love with this app already. It is awesome. I am loving this start to finish. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, crosswalks. Crosswalks exist for a reason. It's where pedestrians are meant to cross between lanes of traffic. There is a designated area, usually by large rectangular blobs that show you where you're supposed to be walking.
Like what the Beatles walk across.
Like what the Beatles on Abbey Road. There's usually some kind of an indication, whether it's a sign or a flashing light. Stop not using crosswalks.
Have you been driving by the Fargo Dome during the wrestling thing on 19th Avenue?
No, but I bet it's crazy.
It's insane.
Here's my issue with it. I live next to a hospital, and on both sides of the hospital, there are 2 parking lots. On one of them, everyone has now figured out, listen, even if I'm parked on the far south side, I still have to use a crosswalk that's in the middle rather than walking down and crossing at some random spot. It's well marked. People stop and they wait for you. There's a social understanding of what the crosswalk is at that point. It's established. On the other side, this is only used pretty much by hospital staff. So nurses, doctors, things like that. Yes.
North side is the public access. South side is the non-public access.
It is the wild, wild west. People are crossing anywhere but the crosswalk. They put up this giant light that when you are crossing, it's got flashing lights now. I've only seen someone use that once. So I wrote a letter to Sanford this week, and I said, listen, your staff crosses where everyone, and here's the problem. You'll stop and wait for someone to cross in front of you at a non-crosswalk area, but then you go 20 feet, and then you got to wait for another person who's using another spot. It's making traffic higgledy-piggledy. And I'm tired of it. I'm done. It drives me up the wall.
You've had enough.
And it just crosswalks. They're there for a reason. And if you're a pedestrian, like, well, I am here. I'm halfway down the block, and I need to get to a business that's right across the street from where I am. Tough shit. You need to go up to the crosswalk where it is protected for you, cross and go down. That's like me saying, well, I'm a driver, so I'm going to drive across this sidewalk because now I don't have to go around the block to get into a parking lot.
So these are all doctors and nurses and technicians and administrative staff who are doing this. And so they're just arrogant because of their position in society.
And I will also say this. It was dumb the way they put this crosswalk together because the crosswalk is like dead set in the center of where the building is, but there's no door that leads out directly to the crosswalk.
Okay.
Versus on the other side, the bus stop is there. There's the door. Like you walk straight across and get into the door. This was poor planning and poor management on so many levels. But I am done. And so finally, there was a nurse who just didn't care. And like they're walking across grass to then step off a curb to walk across a street, no crosswalk area. And so I finally was like, honk. And she got startled and she turned around and I looked at her and I kind of gave like an indication towards the crosswalk and then she flipped me off. But I'm like, I am done. And like, they need to send, like, I hope that they take this seriously and they send a memo to their staff that says, listen, Sanford put the money into this crosswalk. They paid for it. Please use it. This is how you're supposed to cross the street. This is how we be good neighbors, because at one point, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I will get pissed off enough that I will start going to city commission meetings and I will tell them about how Sanford thinks that they own this town and that they decided that they could just do this and it's causing traffic problems. It's a safety issue. There's a school nearby. So what are we teaching our children when they see these type of things?
You are ready for
I am
public
ready to
comment
fight.
section of the city council meeting.
And so, and I will go and I will be the squeaky wheel that eventually makes it where they lose their crosswalk and they put a cop there and start ticketing them for jaywalking. Because you know what? That's the only way you're going to get it to stop. And I know that nurses have it tough because it's been a hard row. But you know what? Take the extra 15 steps to get a protected crosswalk and stop bungling up my traffic.
Have you considered using the bully pulpit of KFGO to make this happen?
See,
they advertise with you?
No, I mean, we have a lot of partnerships.
You have people who work under you, though, right?
Yeah.
And some of them are on-air personalities, right?
Yeah,
You could make one of them do it.
I could. And there might be, I mean, let's face it. I'm ready to use any tool at my disposal.
Make Steve Poitras do it.
You know what I was thinking about? What if I just went with a sign? Like,
just put one up there.
Yeah. What if I stood out on the public area, the berm that's not owned by anybody, and I stood there in sweatpants and no t-shirt with a sign that said, like, try me. And then they're going to use a crosswalk and I will block the area that they're used to walking. So I will become a human speed bump to deter them. No, not even a speed bump. One of those concrete blockades that they put on the interstate when they're doing construction.
How many internal memos do you think have been generated during your lifetime because of letters you have written?
Well over 20. Well, nice. Maybe like it could be closer to 40.
You should start requesting copies of the memo,
like feedback
in the letter. Like Sanford, I'd love not just complain to you. I'd like to know that you're taking care of this. Can you let me see the memo that you send out and send me a copy of it?
Would you like to know?
I'd also like an officer to show up at my house and give me a little gold sticker badge for being a good community member.
I mean, I've always thought that why not deputize me? Because I could find all the people who are breaking laws nonstop. Would you like to know the most incensed I've ever been after writing one of those letters? Like one where they double down on it.
You got a response?
Yeah.
Was that the Taco John's?
No. I got a response from the Taco John's one, but that was thanking me as like a franchise owner. It's like, thank you so much. This is unacceptable. We'll do this. And then they offered to give me like gift cards. And I said, no, I don't live in Bismarck. Your gift cards do me nothing. And I always start my strongly worded letters to a business saying, this is not force. I don't want something back from you.
Yeah.
I don't want gift cards. I am letting you know this as a customer, because you deserve to know as a business.
Do you have copies of all the strongly worded letters?
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Because that'd be a nice coffee like table book.
Yeah. You know what I do is I usually, to show how much I mean it, I write one out longhand and then I include the typed one as well to show them that I took the time to think this and write it out. And then I typed it so that you could have something easier to read.
So you send them both copies.
Yeah. And then I'll also, if there's like a comment section where I'm filling it out on a website, I will write my comment in on the website, copy and paste it, and then also mail it.
What was the most incensed you've been?
I went to Dairy Queen, a drive-through Dairy Queen on 13th Avenue in Fargo, North Dakota, and I ordered a hot fudge sundae.
Year?
Year. Oh, year? I'm going to say 2010.
Okay.
Right around there.
14 years ago.
And I get it in the drive-through. I'm driving, so I can't eat it, but I rush home because I don't want it to melt, right? I'm so excited. I dip in and I taste it, and it's not hot fudge. It's chocolate syrup. And there's a huge difference. Huge. There is a monumental difference between hot fudge and chocolate syrup. And I had waited in that drive-through line forever. So not only do I not get my delicious treat, but I also realized like this is ridiculous. So I call the Dairy Queen and I was like, hey, listen, you gave me this thing. It's chocolate syrup and not hot fudge. And they're like, that's how we make a hot fudge sundae. And I said, that can't be right because this is chocolate syrup and you make hot fudge sundaes. And I've eaten a lot of them there. And I know that this is the wrong stuff.
This has neither hot nor fudge.
Right. And they're like, well, we can't give you a refund. And I immediately am like, fine, click. Get out my pad and paper and I write a letter to Dairy Queen corporate. And I am saying that if one company should be educating their employees on the difference between hot fudge and chocolate syrup, it is a goddamn Dairy Queen. And I go further to say, not only that, but then the person I talked to made me feel like it was my fault. So 2 weeks later, I receive a letter and on the letter, it's a Dairy Queen logo and it's got my address and name handwritten on the envelope.
So you'd given them your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess they probably had the receipt. They had the credit card.
No. I always provide my contact information.
JJ Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm a big deal in this town.
I was
ran for mayor 2006.
You like on a pro Dairy Queen legislation. But I always provide my contact information, not just email, but like mailing address as well, just in case someone wants to wonder, or like also just to know where it's coming from, right? Like if I'm complaining about a Dairy Queen in Fargo, North Dakota, but my, address is in Wichita, don't take me seriously, right? Like, so I'm expecting some kind of like we're so sorry you had a bad experience. We will do better, letter. I open it up and it is 4 $5 gift cards to Dairy Queen. Nothing else. And I look at them and I was like, you can't buy me off. I am not your whore. This is ridiculous.
Guys, make this go away. Make it go away now.
They didn't even bother to write a letter saying, hey, listen, next hot fudge sundae is on us. I flipped. I was so angry. And I know someone who manages one of the Dairy Queens. And so I called them and I'm like, this is what they did. And they're like, but aren't you happy that you got like $20 out of the deal? And I'm like, I am not. Because it will not give me back that beautiful summer evening when I wanted a hot fudge sundae. It will not give me back the time I spent inside that drive-thru. It will not give me the time I spent writing that letter. And it will not buy my loyalty. Oh, I was so mad.
I want an option
now
in the drive-thru at Dairy Queen where you can say, don't tip the blizzard upside down. I don't need that moment. I hate that so much.
Why?
Because every time I just go, ugh, like I know they're showing me, look, it's in there. I'm like, I get it. It won't be in there long. It'll be in me soon. But I don't like this. And they always look fucking miserable when they're doing it, right? It's like being at a place where when they ring the bell, you have to sing a song or something.
Which they don't do anymore at the Cold Stone Creamery that you're referring to.
Good.
In fact, I just wrote a letter to Cold Stone Creamery 2 weeks ago.
Right. What was this one about?
So they had a bunch of teens working. And
how dare they?
The girl who is doing mine, like I'm up there and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And she stops and she's in front of me and she looks me in the eye and she doesn't say anything. And I was like, oh, can you help me? And she goes, so he goes, sweet cream with hot fudge and Oreo mixed in, please. She goes, okay. So then she immediately starts talking to her friend. She's like, and can you fucking believe that? What a fucking asshole. And loud enough that I can hear it. And the children who are around me can also hear, like, whatever discussion she's having. And so then she fills up my little thing, but she puts it so that half the ice cream is like dripping off the side and then puts it on the counter and slides it towards me. And it hit the cash register. And so now half of my ice cream has touched the side of the cash register, which they clearly don't wipe down on a regular basis. And I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. And the girl goes, are you serious? And I go, yeah. And so I just turned and walked out of the Cold Stone Creamery. And I'm like, that is a young person you do not want working here. Mm. And you know what? If she's having a bad day and she needs to swear, leave her in the back making cupcakes. She is not a front of house person. By the way, I want to double back to this. Since the time of my strongly worded letter, I have been to that Dairy Queen many, many times, and I've actually gotten to know the management at that Dairy Queen. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you this, they are awesome now. And I have not had a single issue. I actually think that it might be my favorite Dairy Queen location in the nation. Wow. And the food that they make, the hot food, is always perfect. Like
they really kissed the ring, didn't they?
They did a good job. They did a good job getting better. Now, I'm not saying it's because of my letter that Dairy Queen corporate
like you are, though.
Took a hard look at that space and said, listen, this jewel needs to sparkle. But something changed and it has. And now I love going there. And I highly recommend, this was brought to my attention recently, when you go and get the amazing chicken tenders basket, which, by the way, $7 chicken tenders basket for lunch, and it comes with Texas toast with a nice slab of butter on it. They ask you what sauce you'd like. Of course, you can get ranch and honey barbecue and buffalo. Get the gravy. They've got like a gravy that they have for like these fries.
Heard you're not supposed to get the gravy at Dairy Queen.
You are absolutely supposed to get the gravy. Why do they say don't get the gravy at Dairy Queen?
I've heard it said before, but I couldn't source it, right? So I'm talking about a conversation I've had that my brain is pulling up right now.
I'm telling you,
someone who used to work at a Dairy Queen, and I'd asked them, like, what's the one thing I shouldn't? And they said, don't get the gravy.
Oh, it comes prepackaged now. So, maybe that
you
has
can
to
still fuck with it or intercept it. Or they're just saying it's so low quality, like you don't really want to know what this looks like when it comes in or something. I don't know.
But I'm saying, like, it's prepackaged in a cup that has like a foil top. So like
this was a conversation a long time ago.
Right. So I'm saying nowadays the gravy comes prepackaged in a cup. So like,
and then they probably spit in it once they've opened the.
No, but you open it. Like they give you the cup.
Oh,
it's like a ketchup packet, like you're like a dressing packet.
Is it hot though?
It is. Yeah. Well, I mean, how do you say hot?
How do you say hot? Like
it's not from the fridge. So it's room temperature, and then they put it with the chicken tenders, and so it gets hot in the basket. It gets warm in the basket.
I don't want room temperature gravy from Dairy Queen.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm telling you, you're missing out.
I have a pitch for something that Kif Joe should do with you.
Okay.
You should hide your identity.
Like an undercover boss?
And get a job at some local, like one of the Burger Kings. And then see how long it takes for you to rise through the ranks to manager. And make a bet on it.
A week.
I think it takes you, I'd put the line, like an over-under, 3 weeks at the line.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
I'm telling you, after a week, I'm assistant manager. But
the prop bet is for manager, right? Mm-hmm. You're running that location. And they don't know who you are.
Here's the beauty of it.
They can't be like, oh, we want local celebrity JJ Gordon manager.
Right. No,
it needs to be a meritocracy.
I will dress up and put a wig on and become and call myself Terry. So it's a little like, is it a man? Is it a woman? We can't really tell, and no one wants to ask. Here's the beauty of it. So most, like if you've got a Burger King that's open, let's say from 5 a.m. till midnight, you've got at least 3 managers on duty during a day. right? Yep. So like
morning, afternoon.
Each one is a different, like essentially shift manager.
Yep.
Plus you got the weekends. I guarantee you that your 3 weeks is generous in the amount of time, because even if the location I am at when I start isn't the one that I become the manager of, they're like, hey, listen, we've got to get someone who's got their poop in a group to the Veterans Boulevard location because it's about to go under. I could have saved that Burger King that's over by. How much do you think
a Dairy Queen manager makes?
I'll bet you they make somewhere between $70,000 and $90,000 a year, at least.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, I am positive.
Really?
I am positive. Okay. If you can work your way up to management and they have amazing benefits. I bet you that they've got a tuition reimbursement program. I bet you they've got like full healthcare coverage, like zero deductible healthcare coverage and stuff like that.
So you're saying I should become a manager at Dairy Queen to get that raise?
I am telling you that like there's a stigma about being like someone who works at a fast food restaurant, right? Like
sure.
We think it's a menial job,
right?
But they take care of their employees. I saw at Arby's, you start at $17.50 an hour. You start, and they've got a signing bonus of $1,000. So that means if you're there for more than 30 days, they're going to give you an extra $1,000.
Right.
Do you know how long I had to work until I made $17.50 an hour?
I don't. I didn't.
It wasn't until I was in management at KFGO that I was $17.50 and above.
This might be my first full-time video production job where I have an hourly rate that I'm making versus which is just sort of like quote unquote hourly rate. You know, I don't clock in.
Right. They pay you for 40 hours, but you might be giving them more.
Yeah. Or less or yeah, or it's a little squishy sometimes, you know, but I don't know why they do it that way, but they just do. But I just got a raise, so
congratulations.
Yeah, it felt good. I just completed my first year at this job.
Whoop, whoop.
And they pulled me into the boss's office, and I'm always nervous when that happens, right? Because hey, could you come talk to us for a second, right? And it's like, shit, what did I do? You think about that's where my brain automatically goes. And then they were just real nice. They said, hey, we're really happy with what you've done, and here's a little raise for you. And I was like, thanks, guys.
That's great.
Yeah, it felt good.
The next thing on my list, Little League Baseball. On my way to our recording this morning, we're recording it on a Sunday morning. There's a Little League team, and I love when someone does a good job and all the parents like applaud and they're like, way to go, Jason, you know, like something like that. I found myself just being taken back to this simpler time. And then my second thought was, wait a minute, it's 9:00 on a Sunday morning. None of these people are in church.
You weren't.
I know, but like, I feel like there's this weird stigma of like, you can't schedule anything on Wednesday nights or Sunday mornings because of church. And I don't think that that's true anymore.
I don't think that exists anymore.
But I know for a fact Fargo Public Schools has an unwritten rule about like activities on Wednesday night.
Sure.
Because they still consider it quote unquote a church night. But I just don't think that that's a thing anymore. And
it might be because less people are just going to church. So it's no longer competition for their time.
Yeah.
Right? Versus like, oh, let's be respectful and carve this out. It might just be more like, yeah, fuck it. You know, if it's so important, you go do that instead. But we have enough people coming to be in this Key Club meeting that we don't need you tonight.
Yeah. Enjoy your confirmation.
Enjoy your stories.
My next thing is the farmer's market. I want to
hold on. I want to talk about Little League.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
Every time I see a Little League team or someone even mentions Little League, I think of that Pizza Hut commercial.
Yeah.
Where he's just standing out there and then he sucks at baseball and then he puts his glove and he happens to catch the winning catch. And I saw that ad before I played Little League baseball.
And you expected it to be like that?
That's going to be me. Like that was like, I can be that guy. I can just luck into winning the big game, thinking that that's going to get me some Pizza Hut. I sucked at it. Never had that moment. In 2 summers of playing Little League, I hit the ball twice. One was a foul. One was an out.
I was in a Fargo like baseball thing when I was a younger kid, and every team was a different color socks. So they were the white socks and the black socks. We were the yellow socks. And so, of course, you're supposed to wear yellow socks. And it was piss yellow is the color that it was. And it was so unattractive. And I remember like after the 3rd game, I told my dad, I was like, I just don't like this. This isn't fun for me. And I'm not good at it. And he's like, I think you should see it through. And I said, no, I don't think so. And there was a moment where I think my dad probably could have been prouder of me. And because it happened the way it happened, it just did. And that's fine.
You know what, though? Fine. You know what, Dad? You want me to play this game? How about you stop burning the steaks?
Right. There you go.
Let's get better at burning the at the steak, and then maybe I'll think about more sports.
Stop pretending you're playing in a dart league when really all you're doing is drinking MGD at Duffy's.
I mean, that is basically a dart league.
True. Okay, anything else on the
I'm good. I just needed to get the Pizza Hut thing and my...
Did Pizza Hut make the most iconic commercials from childhood that dealt with pizza?
Well,
because I really feel like there were a lot of Pizza Hut commercials that I can see in my mind right now.
I was very easy to be moved by Pizza, like the cartoon guy. But they also had breadsticks that were like the crazy bread at Little Caesars, because it's just butter basically on top. Do
you remember when they used it was a bunch of like Roman puppets and they did that?
I also remember when they had the Bigfoot.
Oh, at Pizza Hut was Bigfoot was Pizza Hut.
What did Little Caesars have then? Because they each did something just like that. Like they
maybe like the Cobblestone Mile or something like that. But the Bigfoot for sure is Pizza Hut.
It was Pizza Hut. Okay, because I just remember there was like a year where all the pizza chains were like, "Oh my God, pizza, but like a hot dish. That's what everyone wants."
They were like, "The Bigfoot is 3 feet long."
Right. I really want to know.
By the way, they brought the Book It program back, which I think was one of the most amazing reading programs ever. Yeah.
The Bigfoot, the Dominator, and the 1990s Giant Pizza War. There is an entire article about this.
Oh.
It's yep. Pizza Hut was the Bigfoot. Who was the Dominator? That must have been Domino's.
Oh, yeah.
Bigfoot was... Little Caesars got things started with the Big Cheese Pizza. Then...
The Big Cheese Pizza.
Pizza Hut answered with the Bigfoot Pizza. Then the Domino's Dominator failed to dominate. Who won the Giant Pizza War? Nobody. There was no winner in the Giant Pizza battle. All 3 pizzas are long gone, mere footnotes in the history of American fast food.
Oh, wah. Farmers markets. I love farmers markets. As you know, like I love the Walla Walla sweet onion, shishito peppers. This tip is brought to you by Rachel, who is listening to this probably as she's driving. Do you know the best
Enjoy
way?
Your new life, Rachel.
Yeah, I hope you have fun in Texas.
I bet you're going to have a lot of happiness.
Please tell everyone about JJ Meets World in Texas.
See you in like a couple of weeks.
There you go. Rachel was like, you know the best way to cook corn? And I said, boiling it. I always shuck the corn and I boil the corn, and that's how you do it. She goes, no, you do it in the microwave. And I'm like, wait, what? So 3 minutes an ear. So let's say you're cooking 3 ears of corn. You don't need to go to 9 minutes. You probably need to go to like 6.5, 7 minutes. In the husk, in the microwave it.
All 3 ears at the same time.
All 3 ears at the same time. Halfway through, just rotate them, turn them upside down. They steam inside the husk. And then the husk falls off and the threads fall off. It's really hot, so you got to use a hot pad right when you get it out. It is the best way I've ever found to like make corn. I'm eating corn way more on the cob now, way more because of this method.
Interesting.
And you know what? I think people, again, just like managing a fast food restaurant, they think the microwave makes everything chintzy and like it's kind of a crummy way and there's no way you get something quality. Microwaved in the husked corn is amazing. Don't sleep on it. The farmers markets have fresh sweet corn right now. Enjoy. And just, you know, whether you cut the niblets off, whether you put the butter right on it, enjoy your corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob I love, but it's also one of those foods that's so messy for me, gets in my beard.
Yeah.
Basically, so I'm a fast eater. One of the reasons I'm a fast eater is I have this weird thing about having food on me. So I'm like, oh, I got to get through this so I can get the food off because I don't want it on me.
Jill, when she eats a corn on the cob, leaves so much corn on it, and I rake that thing down to like the inner ear of the cob. She's
such a disappointment.
She is, so in so many ways. Barbecue restaurants, they needn't bother anymore. Nobody's doing it really well.
Right.
And they're charging you such a premium for it. Listen, North Dakota barbecue restaurants, you're just not doing it.
All I want is a food truck that does pulled pork and like really well. Just that. Like just do pulled pork really fucking well. Don't do anything else. You could put it on whatever kind of bread you want or whatever. but pulled pork, just stick with that.
I appreciate the fact that the barbecue restaurants of the world have agreed that the word gold with barbecue sauce means mustard. So it makes it easy for me to avoid it.
Sure.
Although I don't know why they just don't say their mustard sauce. They call it gold.
Isn't it weird, though, how even in this day and age where we have all the technology information available to us, that there are still regional differences in the country to how things taste, right?
So 100%.
You go down to Nashville or Texas or wherever, and you get barbecue down there, and it's fucking bonkers good, right? It's not like we don't have those ingredients up here, but for some reason, people can't. I've noticed the same thing with Philly cheesesteaks. Like, Philly cheesesteaks taste different in Philadelphia. It's different, and it's not just in your brain, but for some reason, whatever the fuck they're doing there, no one seems to take that with them anywhere else, and I don't get it.
I think that one thing is, like, they've been doing it so well that they do it better than everyone else. And so as these things start to creep across the country and someone's like, I would like Philly cheesesteaks in Fargo, they just don't have the institutional knowledge. And so, like, for example, if someone told me this recently, that if you want to serve something that says it's gelato, you have to actually go and learn from an Italian gelato maker.
Okay.
You can't just you can't say like, hey, we got homemade gelato. They can actually fine you for that.
Got it.
Which I think is interesting.
Right. You got to get bourbon from Kentucky or whatever.
Right. And so,
because of the lime water or whatever, the limestone.
Bingo. Right. Like, and there's just a difference. There's a difference in water. If you produce something in the upper Midwest, you're probably using beet sugar versus down like in the Florida area, you're using cane sugar.
Interesting.
There are just differences in the things that they do. I mean, even the dirt makes things taste different.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you got to go to the headquarters, man. You got to go to where it started and where it's the best.
I really, really want to try farm fresh eggs from free range chickens that have eaten like a certain kind of diet, because I've seen images and videos of like these really golden, gorgeous looking eggs. And then people eat and go, oh, this does taste a lot different than what you're getting in the supermarket. Yeah. I would love, because I love eggs, and I would love to try. Like, this was just laid an hour ago.
You know,
right?
We have a friend who can hook you up with nonstop eggs.
Who?
Natalie Deutsch.
She has chickens?
Natalie LaPlante. She has like a dozen chickens.
What's she feeding them?
They're mostly free. They eat like the bugs and the natural grasses and stuff like that. Like,
I would, Natalie D, if you still listen to this podcast from time to time, hook me up with some eggs.
She would bring me like 24 eggs every couple of days.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and they're the chicken eggs. You know, they call them brown chicken. You know, farm eggs, right? And they're all different sizes. They're not uniform. They are, you know, some are speckled and some are not, and like they're top notch.
And they taste different?
They do taste different.
Well, how would you describe the difference, if you can?
It's a richer taste.
Okay.
So it to me it's the difference of this. If you've ever had homemade bread versus store-bought bread.
Sure. Okay.
There's a little heartier difference. And like,
sure.
So it's good. Today, after we're done podcasting, I have to head out to Bonanzaville, which is a pioneer museum. And while I'm there, I will be hosting the North Dakota Jigsaw Puzzle Championship, which is something that my partner Amy Eiler and I started in North Dakota. Like, we are the ones who formed this thing. And 30 teams will compete to put together a 500-piece puzzle. Every team has the exact same puzzle, and in the shortest amount of time. What do you think the record is in the state of North Dakota for the fastest that someone has put together a 500-piece puzzle? By the way, they're provided by a company called Puzzle Twist, which is a mom and pop puzzle company in Minnesota. And the puzzles that they make are the image on the box doesn't exactly match the image that you're putting together. So there's like a twist in there. So you might see like a bunch of carrots, but it's actually an eggplant.
Okay. I'm going to guess 25 minutes.
That's close. 23 minutes and 25 seconds.
That's very close.
Yeah.
I basically got it right.
I'm very impressed. Also, I can't believe that someone's able to do that. It's a team of 4, and they rock and roll.
Did you know that previous guest Valerie Coit currently is paid to travel and do color commentary at puzzle championships?
Valerie is the reason that this thing started. We had her as a guest on It Takes Two with Amy and JJ. And we just talked to her about puzzle competitions, and like it was slightly after Wicker Kittens had come out, the documentary by Mike Schultz. And we said, like, this is awesome. Why aren't we doing it in Fargo?
Right.
And I actually watched Valerie's commentary recently at like the World Championships.
We should make a JJ Meets World puzzle and invite her in and then record while we put it together.
That's a great idea. Here's something I've noticed about puzzle competitors. There's an alpha in every group, and they do stuff like rotate. And so one person's job will be only edge pieces, and another person will be collecting any pieces that have like red on them. And so most people don't actually even look at the box. They're just trying to get together like images.
Got it.
And I'm excited because the puzzle we're using today has never been available for sale.
Oh.
So this is the first time people will see this puzzle, which is nice because occasionally, like at one of our qualifiers, someone will look at it and be like, oh, yeah, we did this puzzle. We put it together like over Christmas. Not that that gives you an edge necessarily, but like I always like debuting a puzzle. And I also want to be on a puzzle at some point. Lastly, I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but I figured out how I'm going to live forever.
Please tell me, because I actually want this knowledge.
Okay. So I think of someone like John Wayne, long dead, but he's still a household name, right? John Wayne. He left a mark on the world that has lasted for, decades after his death and will last for a long time, going, right? So for a long time, I've been like, how am I going to leave some kind of a mark that will last longer than I have? And I figured out what it is. North Dakota State University is an agricultural college. They do a lot of work there, especially when it comes to coming up with not necessarily GMOs, but like the University of Minnesota makes apple trees that become, they said, listen, we took the Honeycrisp apple and we bred it with this other one to make it hardier in the northern part of the country. And so like they are producing apple trees that will go on and live for generations and generations and varieties that'll go forever. I'm going to donate a bunch of money to NDSU so that they can come up with a rhubarb variety that'll be called Gordinia, and it'll be my namesake for the rest of time. And there'll be a rhubarb that people can plant, and that, a lot of people I notice have rhubarb and they don't even want to do anything with it.
You don't want to call them JJs? JJ apples?
No, because I don't want anyone to make JJ pie. I think that's weird. Or JJ bars. I want them to make Gordinias. And it's already like gardenia is a flower.
I was going to say it sounds like a flower.
Right. So Gordinia really fits into that.
Well, that's why it would be too confusing, because it's like, oh, I'm growing some gardenias in my backyard. Ooh, I can't wait to see all the rhubarb apples. Oh, no. I said gardenias.
Rhubarb apples.
I'm half listening to what you're saying.
I know you are. And that's why you're not my key demographic. No. The people who already know that are going to be like, I will definitely take my Gordinia, because most people just refer to it as rhubarb.
Yeah, mostly I eat cheese and crackers. Like rhubarb. Just I don't go through the process.
And this is it'll be a ruby red stock. It's going to be similar to the Colorado ruby red variety, but it's going to be hardier for our part, and then thicker and taller growing.
How do you know? Like, it hasn't been made yet. So these are all the instructions you're going to give NDSU.
This is what I'm going to tell NDSU. This is what I want. This is how I want you to Frankenstein this thing together.
How much is the going rate on creating a new species of fruit?
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm willing to give them up to $100,000.
Wow.
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. Bad news, Tucker. The thing that we didn't talk about on my list was a bonus I was going to give you, so I guess that's just, I'll erase this note.